This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. We are your choice for the conservative voice. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have Michael Carbone from Grace Lake District 47.
46.
46. So what's one number? And of course, our founder and super champion, Jack Roser. This is Ann Parisi. How are you today, Jack?
Super champion. Wow.
Yeah, you are a super champion.
Yeah, we want to hear about Mike, though. Mike, why don't you tell people a little bit about what you do?
What do I do? In my work life or in my public life?
Work life.
Work life.
Because that's real.
Yeah, that is real, isn't it?
First of all, calamities happen if it isn't real. The other one's a dream world. We're all trying to make some sense out of politics.
The political
Tell us about the real guy.
world.
Yeah. Well, I'm a small business owner. I'm a real estate broker, which I haven't been doing a lot of practicing with that because the market's pretty tough. And then, go figure. And as I always say, we live in Illinois. So, but if my other side, what I do is property tax abatement. I help folks lower their property taxes at home. I've been doing that about 4 years now. I'm very successful at that. So. It keeps me extremely busy, and a lot of that ties into me being on the school board, District 46, to help me understand the levy process and what is actually happening in our communities.
Are you presently on the school board?
Yes.
46?
Correct, yes.
Is there anybody else like you on the board?
There's a couple, as I would say, on our side, the friendlies. We have a lot of common, we see things a lot equally in that sense.
Yeah. How many do you have like that? 2, 3?
It's a 4-3 board now. It's split. It's extremely obvious. It's contentious.
That's better than most. There's a lot of them where a guy like you would be all alone.
Well, I was all alone at one point until 2 election cycles ago in 2011, right? Yeah, we picked up 2 seats.
Did you?
On the board, and 2 people lost, which was not a bad thing, or actually was a good thing. But the 2 people that are on there now currently that are with, like on our side, are very common sense. They understand practical, basically I like to keep it how you run your own home. So keep things simple.
Don't you find that when you have 3 people on the board that are kind of together on things, that on a really good issue, you can get the 4th out of the remaining bunch?
I would say yes most of the time, but this board is very dynamic in its behavior, and we ruffled a lot of feathers.
Is that a kind new name for spendthrifts?
Yeah. When I first got on this board almost 4 years ago, I was the lone voice on the board, and I did not even recognize what I got myself into until I always looked at. I was always a volunteer in things in community service. Coaching, teaching education, or not education, but sports for young kids and children. And getting on there, I was shocked, just the language and the conversation that was going on that school board.
They're not, a lot of, what motivates most of the school boards in the state is not nice. It's a bunch of petty crap about money and about their pals in the union that really runs the whole state is largely run by the teachers' union. Not the teachers, their stinking union.
The money's for the children.
It's all for the children. Boy, is that a cover.
Right. Well, there's 2 sides to being on a school board, and I had this argument all the time. You have the side of the education, and our kids being educated properly. We can all agree, and for the sake of argument, say yes. But then there's the other side through the administration is the financial side. And that's the question that we need to start making, or bring that message to the front, forward, because they want to say, well, it's all about our education. We got to do that. That comes first. Well, you're right. But on the other hand, there's also the administrative side. When you run a business, you have an administrative side as well, and you have to be able to run fiscally sound. And we're seeing in our education system, at least in the state of Illinois, as far as I'm concerned, it's not being run fiscally sound in most school districts.
Where do you see a lot
I've
of the
been at
waste,
this
fraud, and
40
abuse?
years, Mike. I've been at this 40 years, ever since I was head of a homeowners group in Arlington Heights, and got interested in why they wanted to raise the taxes. And I got an education, and it started me because I invited the president and the superintendent to talk to the people and the group that I was the president of the community organization. So what I found out was that they really didn't know the facts too well themselves, and they're very arrogant. And so I got started looking into the facts of it. And what I found in 40 years of being a skunk at a picnic is that everything they touch, they are incompetent to the highest degree. There is no organization in the whole state of Illinois that is as functionally incompetent as the K-12 system. And that includes everything they touch. Salaries, pensions, completely wacko. That alone has bankrupted the whole state. But if you get down to the practical things in life that all of us face, let's talk about leaky roofs. Now, if you want to fix your home roof, which is harder to fix than a school roof because yours are peaked and most of theirs are flat, and the peaked roofs are more expensive to fix. And if you were to fix your roof, I well know, because I've got industrial roofs that are over 100 years old, that some are flat and some are peaked, and my home thing is peaked. A couple of years ago, I did my home roof for about $3 a square foot, complete tear off. A lot of the planks had to come out. The insulation was some of it wet, had to be replaced. And I got a 50-year roof for just a little over $3 a square foot. Guess what all of these school districts pay per square foot to do a flat roof? You want to guess? Guess high. Guess high.
$36.
36. Okay, you did zoom over the top. But there's a lot of difference between $3 and $16, which I frequently find, I found as high as $22 a square foot. Now, that's an insane price to pay, and it shows the total incompetency. I think it's incompetency, not perfidy. I think most of the people in the education system are so bloody stupid at handling money that they think that because it's for the kids, it must be okay.
They're not handling their own money. It's
They sure aren't.
taxpayer money.
They're raping our tax.
But that's the thing. It's so much easier to spend money when it's really not from your blood, sweat, and tears, and you just create
When they go to fix
taxes.
a roof, who do they give it to? They give it to an architect who writes a 100-page report about how to fix a roof. No sane businessman would ever do that. And when they write a 100-page report, and then the architect says, and this roof is going to cost you $1 million, well, arbitrary, even smooth number, $1 million to do. I faint dead away because I know that I would not pay more than about $200,000. But he's already, the architect says it'll cost you $1 million, and then they send it out for bids. And guess what? All the bids are around $1 million. And
well, of course.
So that's what it costs to fix a roof for a school. How could these bloomin' guys be teaching anybody anything when they can't wrap themselves around the cost of fixing a roof?
Right. Well, and it comes down to that practical sense of how we run our own homes. You know, you talk about other people's money. I know that as stockbrokers, they get to play with other people's money. You look at all these taxing bodies, they play with you're right, they play with taxpayers' money. But the thing is, we should be going there with a good conscience and saying, this is my money, too. I'm a board and I'm representing this community, but it's also my tax dollars that are being spent here, and I should spend them the way I would spend them in my own home. You talk about roofs, let's break it down to, television or internet or a phone bill. Yeah. What do we do as consumers? We go and shop around.
Michael, can I ask you a question? Being a school board member, how many citizens in the community actually come to school board meetings on a regular basis, and how would that change the process of folks really knowing what's going on with their property tax dollars?
You're proposing a real solution. There is a reason why the school boards are totally incompetent at running anything. You can't be this bad without a real powerful process in place.
You need accountability.
And the thing is, where does the school board come from? I'm going to answer this so you remain ignorant too long. Where does it come from? It comes from an election which people think is fair, but it isn't fair at all. Because why? The law prevents anybody from interfering in the negotiations for a teacher's contract or anything else that puts people on the board. They can't, on the teacher's contract, you just aren't allowed to have an opinion.
I'm very confused.
We're
I want to
coming to
hear
the
more
end of this
about this
section.
when we come back
Yeah.
after the break. I want to talk about school board elections. Stay with us. We've got a lot to talk about.